speakers that have come, but we're more grateful for you. We're grateful for you because you've been able to allow your voice to be heard and to talk to people. And whether it's been Senator Rice or whether it's been the Attorney General, those people that have come through these doors and those people that have said, what is it that you need from me in order to make your life better? Or what is it that you don't understand about the work that we do? And so we recognize that this has value and it has meaning. And the other piece of it was that we also wanted to make sure that those who are elected and those who are representative of the people had a place to come to talk to the people, right? So that it's not just that, hey, we only go knocking on doors, but if you're here, we're here every month. Like Nina Melker, who has been here every single Capital City Area Black Caucus for the last 4 years since she was running for election. She hasn't missed one. And so we appreciate the fact that we are able to talk to the people. The other piece of this is that we have to recognize that elections have consequences, right? One of the things that we saw several years ago when we had, and I'm not going to get real political on this, but we understand that we had a council that was not engaging with the community. And let there be light. And there was. But I was at an event 2 weeks ago where was a Greater Trenton was honoring John Harmon. And for those of you that were in the room, and I see a lot of people shaking their heads, there was a different air in that room. There was a different feel in that room. There was such a different feel, it brought John Harmon to tears while he was talking. And part of that feel was not just we had an air of unity in the room, but what you also began to see in that room was the fact that those people that would represent the people were actually in the room. For the last 4 years, the only person that represents the people in the city of Trenton that was ever in a room when there was a meeting going on was the mayor of our fair city, Mayor Garcia. But you had every council person elect, every person that was running for council were all in that room. That means that the people have access to the people that will be making decisions over their lives. So recognize this, that success only happens when preparedness and opportunity meet. Well, the opportunity is here. Are we prepared to meet the challenge? So we appreciate you being here. I bring you greetings, John. We're going to have a really good discussion today because I see the folks in the room. Be well.
I don't see Senator Turner is a rep, so we'll move through the program. Our next speaker is the Honorable Dan Benson, member of New Jersey State Assembly. We're giving these folks a couple of minutes. This is not a soliloquy. We're going to give them a couple of minutes to bring greetings and to say something to you.
I'll reintroduce myself again. My name is Dan Benson. For the past 12 years, I've served in the New Jersey State Legislature, serving as Chair of Transportation, serving on the all-important Health Committee, and probably most important, I serve on the Budget Committee. And so I want to bring greetings from our state legislature, from my colleagues as well. Hopefully they'll be here joining us, Shirley Turner, Verlina Reynolds-Jackson, who serves with me on the Budget Committee, and my friend Anthony Varelli. We all work together as your Mercer delegation to make sure that your voices are heard and that we can serve together as servant leaders and making sure that we deliver. So I'm just going to say two things and sit down, but I know we're going to have a conversation. I just want to remind folks that the Anchor Property Tax Relief Program is ongoing. The deadline is January 31st. And I say that because we're thinking, okay, property taxes, I may not own a home. Renters, $450, you have to apply. And it's a new program, it's $450 for every renter. The deadline is January 31st. Most renters have not applied. So we need you to get that word out into the community to apply. You can contact any one of the legislators' offices to get a paper form. You can apply online. There is no phone application. So it's $450 to every renter that rented in 2019. So just keep that in mind. I want to make sure there's money on the table out there. We got to get it out. There's not stimulus checks. We don't have the federal child tax credit. This is what's before us. We got to get it out into the community. Otherwise, we're going to have a lost opportunity. But I'm looking forward to talking a little bit more about the state if we have a discussion and about our role here in Mercer County. I'd be remiss and don't want to make it too political, but for folks that don't know, I put my name as well in for county executive. I was able to join our great Mayor Palmer last week on a fun announcement for that, and have been reaching out to community leaders throughout. So we'd love to have that conversation if you'd like. Thank you so much.
Before we have Senator Turner come up, I'm going to ask Pastor Boyd to please come and just bring greetings as well. Pastor Boyd, we are at his church, and I thought it would be appropriate.
Good morning. As you see, I have a built-in amplifier. Well, it's good to be with all of you, all of the elected officials, all of the good people, to this awesome caucus, to all good friends and people of God alike. We welcome you to Greater Mount Zion African Methodist Episcopal Church. And I don't think there's many folks in here that do not know that you are not always welcome. And we are very proud, very, very proud to be the home and the headquarters for this caucus. And our doors are always open. And so we hope to see you all plenty of times in the future. I just have one announcement, and I think everything ought to open in prayer, and I don't know if we did open in prayer. Okay. So I have one announcement. We have some flyers. And there's so many toy and gift giveaways throughout the city. And we too are having one, so we ask you to share with your networks on Christmas Eve. We, in partnership with Freedom Christian Church, which are the folks that rent from us over on Perry Street at the original Greater Mount Zion Church. It's going to be a Christmas Eve concert at 12 o'clock. We're going to be in and out. So we're going to sing, do all of that good Christmassy stuff, and give gifts away to the community. So please spread that with the networks. Let everybody know. Come and have some joy with us on Christmas Eve, and we look forward to being with you all there. And let me be very clear to city officials. Greater Mount Zion is open for the community. Amen. So whenever you need space, you let us know. Joan right here coordinates everything. So we want you to know that we are intent on making sure this facility is open for this city and this community. Pastor?
I missed part. We're going to be here on Christmas Day?
Yes, on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve will be here in the sanctuary.
I will be announcing Sunday.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And let us open to all the faith. I see several faith leaders in the house. Praise God. Praise God for your presence. Let us open in prayer. Lord, we thank you, we praise you, we glorify you. Thank you for this work. Thank you for this most blessed capital city area Black Caucus. Amen. Now may your will and your work be done through all that transpires here today. This we ask in your most blessed name, in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Senator Turner, you want to come forward and make a couple of remarks, a couple of minutes?
Thank you, John. Good Saturday morning, everyone. It's a mighty good morning. And every morning you get up on this side of the grass, it's a great morning. First, I want to thank the capital city area Black Caucus for bringing us here today and to give us an opportunity to see each other and greet each other. And this is an appropriate time for us to gather here at Mount Zion Church, because this is a reminder to us. 8 days before Christmas, we have to remember the real, true meaning of the season. It's not about shopping and buying material gifts. It's about having an opportunity to unite, to reunite with our family, friends, and to rejoice for what we have been given. So I want to thank Reverend Boyer and First Lady Boyer for hosting this at Mount Zion. And it was truly music to my ears when he said that the church doors are always open to the public, because far too often church doors are only open on Sunday. So we are just grateful to be here, and I want to take the opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy Kwanzaa, a Happy Hanukkah, and also a Happy New Year. Thank you.
I thank Berlina and Anthony Borelli, both absent, but not because of anything other than conflict in schedule.
Under the weather, very
Yeah, under the weather, conflict in schedule. But our next speaker is the Honorable Brian Hughes, Mercer County Executive. Again, we're asking everybody to take a couple of minutes and bring her up.
Thank you, John and I have been friends for a long time, and he knew I came prepared with only a 15, 20-page speech. I'm going to put that back in my pocket right now.
Good idea.
All right. I want to say it has been my great pleasure to be the county executive of Mercer County for all these years, and to work with such a fantastic team. When I came into office, I said I wanted my Mercer County team to look exactly like our community does. And I can tell you that half of our cabinet are African American. More than half of them are women, including our first county administrator, first one in the entire state. And I think we ought to give her a hand and that cabinet. Fixing bridges and fixing schools and making sure people have economic opportunity through the set-aside programs that we've established. I do want to say welcome. I want to say welcome to the pasture. I want to make sure the First Lady in this city, we need safe places to go. Amen. And a place you can call my home that is safe for anyone at any time, and make sure they know if there's nowhere else to go, if they can't find a bed anywhere, if they need to get warm, they can come here. And I want to thank you for that. All of these things just add up to the fact that we are moving forward in Mercer County. We have opportunities like never before, and that our park system have been working in the city of Trenton all the time. And John keeps telling me in my back here to get off the stage, and I will. But I want to thank you all very much. Happy holidays, whatever the holiday may be for you, and make sure we all have a blessing for each other. That is full of joy and full of promise for the coming year. Thank you.
Did Paula make it? Okay. Then our next speaker is the Honorable Christopher Bobby from Lawrence.
Well, I send greetings and welcome from Lawrence Township, just up the road. It's so great to see everyone here in person. I missed many of you. I've seen a few of you. It's good to see my cousin. I just want to say, Lawrence Township, we're going to have an election next year. Lots of good things in the township. We've been working together. I'm so pleased to see, not to get too political, Mr. Bailey, but so pleased to see what Trenton has done, the turnout, and also just the hope that it gives me to have clean water for my community, to be able to work with partners in the capital city, to have conversations about the issues that affect the both of us. I'm so excited to see that. And as a side note, I just want to say thank you to Pastor Boyer and Greater Mount Zion AME Church for all that they have been doing and continue to do. In my day job, I am an architect, and I am pleased to be working with Pastor Boyer and Greater AME Church on a birthing center right next door. And I just want to say, not only is it a birthing center, it's also going to be a community space. But what I want to say about the birthing center is that it is so key and vital for this community and for the state of New Jersey, because Black infant mortality that rate is unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I was shocked to see how bad the outcomes are in this state. So, greetings. Wishing you the best in 2023. And it's so great to see you all in person. Take care.
Our next speaker is Kevin Baxter, New York City Councilman.
Good morning, everyone. Won't be long. I just want to bring greetings from the township of Ewing, since Lawrence is here, Ewing is here. And definitely let you know that Trenton is here, where I got my start. So when Sam put this collective together with other people, he mentioned that he wanted to make sure that we were outreaching to the community. And when I first started my campaign, that was what I always said. I wanted to be a conduit to the people, to make sure those people that weren't going to come to meetings, but maybe they see me at a basketball game or Home Depot, feel free to stop. And I think that's how all the leadership is here. I mean, whenever I see people, they stop, we talk, we have a conversation. And I'm sure it's not just because it's me. I'm nobody special. But I'm sure they do that with everyone. And so that's what greetings is about. If you're going to greet someone, greet them with love, but also expect them, if they have a question, be ready to answer. We never have, time is something that's fleeting. So you never know when you're going to get that chance again to meet that person or give that person an opportunity to engage with you. I want to thank Pastor Boyer, First Lady Boyer, for having us here today. They're like family. You know, I come to Mount Zion. I grew up in Mount Zion, so Mount Zion is my undergird, so to speak. He's beckoning me back, but I'm just I'm grateful though. I'm grateful for being a part of the greater. I'm grateful for the fact that I was here for the sermon when we took down we put white Jesus, we put up the black emblem, There's just a lot of things happening in Mount Zion Church. So people, it's revived, it's re-alive. Come out and please be a part of it. I'm going to close real quick and just say that I'm glad to be a part of here. I'm open, my ears, I came with my opening listening ears because I want to hear what everybody else has to say. But in regards to the collective, I'm glad it came about because we all need to get along as leaders, African American, whoever. We're all here. We need to get along because if we don't get along and show that, then how can we expect the community to reflect that? So let's make sure that we continue to do that, continue to be supportive of each other, and continue to listen. We don't always have to get along, but we can always be respectful. Thank you.
Our next speaker is the Mercer County Clerk, the Honorable Paula Solani Cubella.
Good morning, everyone. This is such a crowd of luminaries. I'm so happy to be here with all of you and all the wonderful members of the church and Pastor Boyer. And thank you, John Bailey. Thank you, Janine LaRue and Sam Frisbee for putting this together. Great to see County Executive Brian Hughes and former Mayor Doug Palmer, Mayor Cusiora, I believe is here. I saw your car. Senator Turner, Assemblyman Benson, Chair Milker, and so many people. I can't even say everybody, but it's so wonderful to see all of you. And I just want to let you know that this is a wonderful church. You have hosted Trenton elections here this year. You had debates here. I'm sorry, you had the debates here. And I showed that that's a great community partnership that you've had. I think that it's important to have that kind of debate and discussion and for people to know where candidates stand. So I salute you for all of that. And I salute you for all the good work that you do here at Mount Zion. I'm here in my Drexel basketball mom uniform today. I'm going down to Philadelphia because my daughter's cheering there. And it's been really fun. Thank you. So I want to thank you all for everything you do, and I want to welcome you today and let you know that we're continuing to run the Trenton runoffs. We had one on December 13th. There's another one on January 24th. I wish everyone the best of luck, and we will continue to run these elections for you and keep everything moving along and democracy strong. Thank you so much.
If you will see in your program, we now have greetings and thank you. And it's under the title of People Have Spoken. The elections are an indication that the people have spoken. And the first speaker that wants to come forward and bring greetings and say thank you is our mayor, my man, Reed Garcia.
Thanks so much, John and Reverend Boyer, and I am looking forward to the maternal health care center that will be bringing back maternity health care to the capital city. It was 4 short years ago, John Bailey called me on the phone from Denver and said that you'd probably make a good mayor, and there was already 8 candidates in the race, and it was a great campaign that John ran. I was able to be here, and I wouldn't have been here without John's assistance. So really thank John Bailey for helping us in capital city. This year and the last 4 years, the subsequent 4 years, I wish you told me how it was going to be for the next 4 years, have been pretty bruising. And in fact, when people ask me why the hell am I running again, I often said lack of therapy. But the great thing is we're going to get a new council. 1 council member is returning, 6 new councils. There's even maybe 6 of the council people will be women, if all goes well. But I think they're going to bring in a new perspective. It can't be the council of no. We had a council for the last 4 years that was no to redevelopment, no to water. They ended the lead service line replacement program. They cut public safety, and the list goes on and on. And what they never realized, what they thought they were hurting the mayor, they were really hurting the citizens of Trenton. And you never saw any of those council members here at one of these meetings or out in the community. They would just retreat, and in fact, they went virtual with blank screens and would just push the no button. So I really am excited about the future. We have a lot of candidates and council-elect here that I think that are going to bring a really great perspective to Trenton. Job number 1 will be public safety. We have to deal with the violence that's in the streets. We have to touch the hearts and minds of our youngsters to make sure that they stay in school, that they have some hope, that they have a future. And that's why economic development is so important as well, to bring jobs. We have 5 developers that wanted to redevelop Roebling Block 2, which are 7 industrial abandoned sites. council just sat with those 5 developers, never brought them to the table. And so we really look forward to jump-starting that. And then just to continue to reinvest in our water department. I know Councilman Bobbitt is anxious for, but we all are anxious. We are all anxious to have a great asset in the city of Trenton that serves 5 municipalities. And so the list goes on and on. But I think that when we work all together, we're not looking for a rubber stamp, but we're just looking for people that have a positive view of the city, that want to contribute, and want to bring revitalization back to the capital city. So thanks so much for your support. Thank you, John. God bless.
I'm not going to take that credit for at least this second race. I'm going to say that Andrew and Butchie Tungsten did a great job leading the mayor and leading folks on election day. And so Andrew and Butch, I'm very proud of you. Our next speaker in the newly re-elected category is the Honorable Nina Melker.
Good morning. It's always awesome to be here at the Capital City Area Black Caucus. You all have become dear friends to me. Thank you, JB, Sam, Janine, who got me involved from the very early days when I decided to run to be a county commissioner. So I first want to thank everybody because I am so honored that I am being allowed to serve this county for another 3 years. And I just want to say, I know how important it is that you have to have your boots on the ground. And I remember saying that from the very first time I came here. You don't have to come to us and come to our meetings to tell us what your problems are. We need to be out in the city, in the county, all 12 municipalities. And it's our job to ask you what you need and be available so you do have the opportunity to come up to us, speak to us. Because nobody wants to have to always get up at a podium to talk when they have a problem. They want to talk one-on-one. So you have my commitment that I will always do that, and I will continue to be here every month because I know how important it is. I thank Pastor for opening up your home to us, and thank everyone. Thank you, JB, and I look forward to seeing you. Happy, happy, happy.
Our next speaker, following along that category, is the Honorable Kathleen Lewis, newly elected Mercer County Commissioner.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. I've been excited to be involved as a representative of Lawrence for the last 10 years, and I appreciate all the outreach that Sam and Janine have done over the years to have us be more involved. I also probably spend almost as much time in Trenton as I do in Lawrence because I am a state worker, and so I am here every weekday trying to pull my coworkers to be out and going into businesses, and I am so very excited for all of the great new things that we can have in the next 4 years here in the city of Trenton. I am so thankful for all of the support that I have received from folks in this room and folks in this community. As I said, I have served in Lawrence for the last 10 years, and we've tried to bridge those gaps, and I am so excited and looking forward to representing this city and the other municipalities in Mercer for the next 3 years, and I thank you for your support, and I wish you the happiest of holidays, and my goal was to not have to have John whisper in my ear, so I think I might just make it. So thank you very much. I hope you all have a blessed holiday, whichever holidays you celebrate, and we all have a very happy and healthy 2023.
And so now we move into the city, and our first city speaker is the newly elected West Ward Councilperson, Teska Fisher.
First, giving honor to God, my pastor, my first lady, officers, friends, and everyone that's here on today. I'm grateful. I'm thankful for the opportunity to represent our West Ward here in the city of Trenton. I'm excited about the things that are about to happen. I've been using the term, we're going to pull up the shade back on Trenton. We're going to open the doors and let the people know that the city is open for business. I'm so excited about the things that are about to happen, and I'm more excited about working with our amazing mayor, Rika Ciora, and all those who've just been elected and those that are about to be elected. I ask you to have I like to use the term, have an incredible day, but to do it on purpose. Don't let somebody else be your thermometer and determine how you're going to be because they come in with a negative attitude and now changes your attitude to negative. Be intentional. Do what you're going to do and be your best you and make them change their thermometer. You be the thermostat. Have an incredible day on purpose, and I look forward to working here in our city.
Pastor Sam.
Good to see you, Dr. County.
All right. You know, I made a call to this young lady to congratulate her on being the next or the newly elected South Ward council person. And I didn't quite know who it was because it wasn't her voice. She's been sick. And she told me, if I feel up to it, if the Lord blesses me and can get me out the house, I will be there. And so would y'all please welcome your newly elected South Ward City Councilman, Gina Figueroa. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Pastor Boyer, this wall's looking really nice. It's coming on really nicely. I didn't know if I was going to be here. Not here today, but here's a newly elected South Ward councilwoman. But I am here because I was resilient, because I stood and I fought, because I did not let my opposition take me down or break me when he tried so hard to do that. So I'm here for the people. I'm here to move Trenton forward. I'm here to show you guys that no matter what, our new council is going to fight for what's right for all of you. We're going to stand in the face of adversity. That's okay. And we're going to do it together. Because this city is diverse. It's wonderful. It's filled with amazing people. And in 2018, I had zero intentions of running for city council or anything of the like. But the late Raphael Valentin came to me and he said, Jenny, you're the one. And it didn't happen in 2018, but it happened now. So I'm here for all of you, and I want you guys to know that. I did this for Raphael Valentin, I did this for my late father, Edwin Figueroa, and I did this for all of you. So let's get together, let's work, let's move the city forward, let's work together on the county, state, federal levels, and put Trenton on the map. Thank you all so much.
And another newly elected city councilman representing the North Ward, Jennifer Williams.
I'm so honored to be here with you today. I do have to say, being very Irish, I don't believe in leprechauns, but we have a few more votes to go. God willing, I will be officially the North Ward Council person. And I want to say welcome and greetings right here in the North Ward. It's an honor to have you all here and be at this event with the Capital City Area Black Caucus. Pastor and First Lady, I didn't forget this time. Winning this race is so important. And winning this race has a lot to do with the shirt that Teska's wearing. You need to be happy. We need to move forward. We need to make positive things happen, and we will. I said right here, when I came to a forum, about when I visited Berlin, few years after the wall came down, and you saw the differences between the West Berlin and East Berlin, and how the people's spirits were depressed, and how the area was depressed. But in the distance, you could see cranes in the air, the future of Berlin, Germany, which was a city that went through war, it went through economic depression, it went through communism, all kinds of things to suppress itself. Trenton isn't exactly like that, but Trenton has had to be that way in many aspects spiritually for the last roughly 50 some odd years. That changes with this city council. That changes with the people of the city, and I know it will, because when I went around the North Ward and talked to folks all over, including on Brunig Avenue, I'll never forget a woman, when I knocked on her door, she said that she had no hope here because of all the shootings, everything poor that was going on, the poverty. I have 1 minute. But when we went up the street and we came back to our car, she deliberately came out of her house to say one thing: do you know how to fix my street light? And I just simply explained to her how to just find out the numbers on the street light and call PSE&G. And that gave her hope, and we had a greater conversation. She said, all right, I'm going to vote for you. I'm going to vote in this election. I didn't vote in the last election because I'm hearing things I haven't heard. You're giving me hope. That's what the churches in our city do. That's what everyone here is about. Please, get out there. If you can, talk to more folks. Let's start spreading the hope in this city. And I want to close, and if I can give you extra 15 seconds, I want to thank Mr. Bailey for telling that story about an orphanage. My father, during the Depression, was put into an orphanage 5 times, and it was a terrible name of a place, but the Philadelphia Home for Friendless Children. He came through that. He eventually was able to go back home with my grandmother, and he ended up having his own family, 7 of us on South Olden Avenue. And this morning I had a good call from a friend, dear friend in Virginia, that he and his spouse were able to adopt a child for the first time, and they're on their way to Fort Myers, Florida at this moment to adopt a baby. So, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everybody.
Sam, what happened, man? The election still going on? I mean, are we expecting any more votes to show up? Oh, matter of fact, come in and bring us up to date, if you would, on where we're at.
Thanks, JB. What happened in the elections? So we recognize that citywide, so when we talk about the citywide election, that we went to that November election. And our struggle here is making sure that everybody can get 50% plus one. Right? And so that has been the struggle. We understand that the formulas that have been used in the past for the at-large race, so we thought we had our at-large winners, and it used to be, and I think they've used, Paula, correct me if I'm not correct, but for the last 3 elections, they've used that same formula, right? But it was determined that that formula was not able to be used, which was to take the number of votes divided by 6, and then you're supposed to have whatever you have. The struggle with that is that it doesn't account for people who bullet vote, who only vote for one person. And so what you think is that if everybody votes for 3 people, that you take the large number and you divide it, that you get the right number, which is 50% plus 1. The challenge is that some people only voted for one person. So instead of there being 6,000 voters or whatever there might be, there were 8,000 voters. So it changed the number. And so we've got a runoff that's coming up for the at-large candidates on January 24th, I believe it is. We want to make sure that people get out. Paula, there will be available mail-in ballots for that as well, correct? So we will have mail-in ballots for those of you that are running. That is part of the universe for you. So are there more ballots coming in? Because I know there's been a question around, well, why haven't they counted the votes that had the provisionals that are out there right now? Part of our struggle is, and I know that all of us in this elected field are trying to figure out how to work on this. We have a board of elections that literally only has 4 commissioners and 4 staff people, full-time staff people, 2 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and then a few seasonals. that count all of the votes for all of Mercer County. That is a challenge. And when you move an election to this period of time during the year where it is a real struggle, and then you have a runoff a few days before Christmas, when all of those workers, some of them actually have full-time jobs, the commissioners, and you are not allowed to count certain votes unless you have Democrats and Republicans in the room, it becomes a logistical challenge, which is what you're looking at with this particular runoff. Right, so the logistical challenge is, yep, we know that there are some provisional ballots that are still out there, and yes, you have 6 days from the time of the election for mail-in ballots. So those mail-in ballots, if you postmarked it on the day of the election, which was Tuesday the 13th, then you have 6 days for it to actually get there. And so what you have is this dribbing and drabbing of between 5 and 20 mail-in ballots coming in a day, which has come in up to this point. And rather than have all of the board workers come in and try and get the commissioners to come in all these different times, and you have to have a public meeting for the provisional ballots, there are all these legalistic issues that have kind of stopped us from moving forward. On Tuesday, all of the votes will get counted, and we will have our answer on the North Ward and South Ward definitively on this Tuesday. But I do want to recognize, because just on a quick second, I want to say that even though we had the struggles with this particular election that we had in terms of getting the votes counted because of an error in the coding, if we did not have the machines that we have now, it would have been much worse. Because the particular machines that we now have, and I'd like for Commissioner Walter to just stand up and wave, because she's been on the commissioner board for 26 years, and has been fighting for this for the last decade. And my brother Terrence Stokes, stand up and wave. I know he hates when I do this, but another commissioner, we voted on these, right? If we had not voted on these particular machines, you would not have a paper trail. So because of the coding, the machines, the readers could not read the ballots. But because we had paper ballots, unlike in the past where it was you press a button and it prints out a ticket that tells you how many votes were there, you can't go back and track vote for vote. With the paper ballots, you can go back and track vote for vote. So even though it was challenging, it was much better than it could have been had we not had the ballots and machines that we currently have. So hopefully that enlightens you a little bit on what happened, where we are. Get people out to vote on the 24th. It is critically important. Elections have consequences. Elections have major and dire consequences. You know, we have, that was on the ballot this time, and I will say this, that there are so many people that voted for the elected school board because they didn't understand the question. And as I was going out and talking to people and knocking on doors and explaining to them this particular issue, many of them said, I should have voted no on that. But they voted yes. And so now, because we have the council that we had that would run and hide as opposed to stand and face the community, that would do the things that they did, we now have to add an extra election, which could be very challenging to our children. Look, if we can't get people to come out and vote for a general election, hopefully we can get people to come out and stand up for their children. Because this is going to have incredible consequences that are going to roll down this hill. So we need for you to get the word out. We need people to get out and vote, not only on the 24th, but whenever that school board election is, we're going to need people to get out and vote then again. Thank you much.
Challenges, choices, and opportunity. Janine, Doug, Tracy Syfax, would y'all please come forward?
Do you have any particular place you want?
Right in the middle would be fine.
We don't want to make waves with you.
Right in the middle. Right in the middle.
You pay attention to me.
Well, I can tell you now, your time has already started.
And he talks longer than anybody.
Let the church say amen.
Amen. Where's my pastor?
You know, I keep saying it, and I just want to acknowledge, you know, when Doug appointed me the head of Weed and Seed, One of the things that I did was to create a youth group of Trenton students. And I see Fulton Parham here right now. And Fulton was one of the first young men, along with Bill Watson's daughter and several others, who were part of that youth group. And so I'd be remiss if I just did say, is that your adult form? Good to see you, good brother. Good to see you. Even though it makes me feel a little older, a little wiser. Doug, you know, 1,000 years ago, when Lincoln was president, everybody's laughing because they know. You created a vision that was sort of acknowledged as a new vision for the city. This year, I don't want you to talk about 20 years ago. I'd really like you to talk about what you saw in 2022 that you thought was important, that maybe we didn't pay enough attention to, or we paid too much attention to, or something that we need to look forward to for 2023. Give me your perspective for year-end in review based on what you've seen this year.
All right, first of all, giving honor to God. It's first in my life. It's good to see all of you here. Pastor Boyer, First Lady, great to be here in your church. Now, John, first of all, the topic is challenges, choices, and opportunities, right? So you asked me a question, do I get to answer that and this, or that's it? Because I'm ready for challenges, choices, and opportunities. And how long do we have?
In the words of Old Negro Spiritual. And Dougie Fresh. 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh till you go home. For our purposes here, take 3 or 4 minutes, Mary, and share with us your perspective. And if you stray and get to challenges, choices, and opportunity, we'll understand. But if you stay focused on the question I posed to you, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, well, first of all, when I ran in 1990 and became the first African-American mayor of the city of Trenton, my slogan was, and JB actually helped me come up with this, a new vision for Trenton. And people asked, well, what is the new vision for Trenton? And actually, my new vision of Trenton was really an old reality of what Trenton was like when I grew up here in the 50s and the 60s. We had an outstanding school system, safe streets. We had job opportunities everywhere, not only in the state, but private industry, even Fairless Steel, General Motors, and neighbors helping neighbors. And it was a great place to live. Just last weekend, I had a Christmas or a holiday party with some of my old classmates that I hadn't seen in 50 years. And we reminisced, they were Jewish, Italian, I was the only African-American. But we were diverse, and we just talked about the great times we had growing up in the city of Trenton. And I want that same kind of feeling for these young people today. Amen. So the new vision for Trenton, when I ran, was just having Trenton in 1990 be like it was in terms of a city working together as it was when I was growing up. So that was the new vision. What we see here today is a lack of apathy, a lack of hope, as was mentioned, lack of opportunities. And you know, at one point years ago, I used to get mad at the people that didn't vote. And say, oh, why didn't you vote? You don't vote. Remember the saying, if you don't vote, you don't count. But you know, so much has happened, so much despair and hopelessness in our cities all across America, that in a way, how could you blame people that feel downtrodden, hopeless, to vote when they don't see any real tangible results? And so that's what I see as it relates to the challenges we have. Now I'm getting to my speech, my 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh. Challenges, choices, and opportunities. A lot of you were here just before the pandemic when Tracy, Tracy was on the panel with John Harmon, and I said, maybe we should have a state of Black Mercer County. to see where black people are in Mercer County in terms of economics, jobs, opportunities. Of course, the pandemic, like a lot of other things, derailed that. But however, there's a study out, Harvard 2020. So this is not old, 2020 study, right, Dan? And I just want to state, I'm not going through all of it, but you know this, but you need to hear it because it has a lot to do with apathy, and it has a lot to do with where we are now and where we could be as it relates to challenges. We all know that the biggest landlord and the most delinquent person in terms of paying their rent is who? State of New Jersey. So this study went over the 50 capitals in the country. And you know where the city of Trenton ranked in terms of all 50? 50th. 50th in per capita income, in poverty, in jobs, all those metrics. 50th, behind, I'm not even going to mention some of the states, even southern states are above us. Okay, it doesn't have to be that way, but why is it? And it's a structural problem, but it can be fixed once we address it and know it. Trenton's only 7.5 square miles. State owns 3 miles, 3 square miles. In most capital cities, the land mass that the state properties sit on is 2%, just 2%. What do you think the land mass of the state of New Jersey is? Trenton's mass. How much you think? 25% of the land, which makes it even tougher because when you have a small base area and it's taking up 25%, just look where all the good land is. Who owns it? Even in West Ward and Hiltonia, the state hospital site, by Kilmer School, all that state land that could be developed into the housing. And so when you shrink a population like that, and when the reality is 53% of the land that pays taxes in Trenton is tax exempt. 53%. So who do you think's paying that? Who do you think's paying that? You are. When the state flushes a toilet, who's paying for that? You are. And so let me just give you some statistics to bring it even a little more focus. State-owned land is valued at $1 billion. That's $57 million of lost revenue from the city of Trenton. Mercer County, $185 million. $10 million in lost revenue. The 1921 census, the median household income in Mercer County was $85,687,000. In Trenton, $39,000. Persons in poverty in Mercer County is 10.4%. In Trenton, it's 27.2%. Now think about Trenton geographically. We're at the bottom of the county. Our back is to Delaware. If you look all across the county, you'll see affluent wealth, basically, and we're pushed off to bottom. It's almost like they built a invisible wall of the haves and have-nots because of all the property that they're sitting on this tax exempt. Owner-occupied housing in Mercer County, 63%. In Trenton, it's 27%. The median value of owner-occupied housing in Mercer County is $295,400. In Trenton, it's $96,700. We have a problem with concentrated poverty in Trenton. It's almost as if you want to blame, and I know we have crime in Trenton, and the underlying cause is a lot of stress. People are fighting every day. They don't know which end is up. No wonder our schools, people are fighting it. They're acting out, and it doesn't have to be like that. But when you look at this paradigm of where Trenton is compared to the rest of an affluent county, what would you expect? And to blame the victims, it's almost like we put a weight on people in Trenton's shoulders and legs, throw them in the water and get mad at them because they can't swim. Well, we need to unlift those shackles, and we need to do it not pointing fingers, See, the choices are you point fingers or you complain. That's not what we're about here. We're uplifting, right, Pastor? We're uplifting. If we work together, we can change this narrative. The opportunities now are these. With a newly elected mayor, with newly elected council people who, thank God, they're here and have the right frame of mind, we can mobilize with information like this, and there's even more, but I don't have time to go into all of it because it's even more horrific. But we need, as a caucus and as a people and as elected officials, mobilize based on these stats and the impact to create systematic structural change in what's going on. To work with our senators, our federal leaders, our county leaders, our municipal leaders. Trenton, in order to change where we are, Trenton's tax rate is the highest in the country, by the way, of capital cities. It's over $5.30. The median tax in Mercer County is $2.39. We need equity, and we need massive infusion of cash from the state, a little from the county, but from basically the state to equalize the taxes. So our elected officials here are going to need our backs to push truth to power, to come up with legislation that will bring about the monies that go directly to reduce taxes. Not for this, not for that. No, you give us money for the other things, but to equalize just the taxes, goes just to the taxes for 10, 20 years until we have an equal base so then people will invest and so that homeowners are not afraid to fix up their basement or add something on because they know once they get assessed, they can't afford it, so they don't do anything. When if the tax rate was equalized and it was low, Tracy, they could ask your company and John's companies that he has, fix my back, do this or that. Local people get hired. The more people that have money in their pockets in Trenton, the better it is for all of us. And so, in conclusion, I'm not asking the state for no handouts. Handouts don't work. They don't work. We want equity, and what we want is strategic investments into economic revitalization. And it's more than just put a building here, put a building there. No. How does it work in the community? How do you invest that jobs will come to local people? How can you have strategic investments, not just in economic revitalization in neighborhoods, but economic revitalization and education, strategic education to help people learn and get jobs and training. This will give people hope. This will remove apathy because they see things are happening. And so I'm so happy and glad, and the city is blessed because you need to find out where you are so you can change it. There's no harm in saying how bad we are. Okay, we're 50th. 10 years from now, if we're still 50th, shame on us. Shame on us. So, let's give Senator Turner, Senator Benson, all our legislators, our council, our commissions, everyone, the backing they need to speak truth to power to the state of New Jersey, to pass legislation that's going to change these sorry numbers and create systematic, strategic investments that create jobs for everyone, that everyone in these neighborhoods can benefit from. And that's how we really put Trenton, Councilwoman-elect, on the map. The capital that came from 50th to number one in just 10 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Palmer.
I go from Dougie Fresh to Reverend. That ain't bad.
You know, one of the things that you said early on in the administration that sort of always stuck with me was that Trenton is not helpless. Trenton just needs help. And that help should come from everybody in this room. And so, Janine, we're not helpless, we need help. But what's going on in this state? You see a different perspective. You live in Mercer County, you live in Trenton, but you're the black lobbyist in our state. You talk to folks about issues and concerns that many of us don't necessarily take part in those conversations, but those conversations get back to us here in the caucus, or they get back to Sam, and now they'll start to get back to Teskin Council. What's your take on what happened in 2022 and maybe what we should be looking forward for 23?
Thank you, JB, and giving honor to my pastor and First Lady. I think some people in the state are a little, they don't understand the concept of First Ladies. But we got a First Lady, and we are so proud of her. She's a working woman.
Please stand, please stand, please stand.
I don't know, JB, if I really need 6 minutes, but I'm going to tell you what I see from a state perspective. And I appreciate all of the stats that our mayor has laid out here, because the picture is dismal. The picture is dismal. But here's the part of it from the state perspective that I see whether or not we make a difference, and whether or not 5 to 10 years from now, if things look the same or look differently than what they do now. And that is whether we can be unified. We have a lot of interest sitting here in the sanctuary today. There are a lot of cliques. There are a lot of agendas going on. There are things that we're going to be involved in over the next 12 months that may be kind of conflicting us out with each other. But this is a decision that I have made. I can get along with anybody who wants to talk about what's good for the city of Trenton. I don't care what other things people are involved in. What is good for the city of Trenton? You know, when we look throughout the state, I look at Atlantic City, I look at Camden, I look at Newark, New Brunswick, Patterson, Jersey City. One of the things that's a little different is that people tend to coalesce on state issues that have to do with their city. For some odd reason, we in Trenton can't get that together. I was called, and many of you know, and Doug knows, you know, what people pay a month for my input with corporations and projects. You don't even want to know. Right, Sean, the monthly checks that folks will pay for the advice of a lobbyist. I've been along this journey for 43 and a half years. There are 120 people sitting in the legislature right now. Only one of them was there when I became a lobbyist. That's how many legislators I have seen. And the thing that frustrates me is that when I go throughout the state talking to statewide officials, the first thing they say is, Janine, why can't the people in Trenton get it together and work together? I got a call last week for lunch with the Attorney General. He wanted to talk about Trenton. He didn't want to talk about any of the stuff that I have that my paid clients want from me. He wanted to talk about Trenton. I got a call from the Commissioner, Department of Corrections, knowing the issues that we have in the city. She wanted breakfast on Tuesday. I got a whole lot of clients who need something from the Department of Corrections. She wanted to talk about Trenton. I was in a meeting on Thursday. I sit on the governor's disparity task force. Had a long conversation. I saw Bill Watson come in here, a person who loves him, the Commissioner of Health. She didn't want to talk about my other clients who are paying me big bucks. She wanted to talk about Trenton. This is the question that I have to this group. We're all sitting here. We're all hearing the stats. Everybody's doing amens and shaking their heads, and we're all together. Don't leave this place today and be in a silo when it comes to the city of Trenton. And the last thing I'll say to you, I'm short, I'm black, I'm female, I'm gay, I'm old. You may not like me or my politics, but I'm telling you one thing that I got that you don't have. I got my pulse on the finger statewide. Where people pay me tons of money to help them. And I'm here to do it for you because I'm a resident. I pay taxes. I care about the city of Trenton. So that's the only thing that I want to lay on the table today, because I'm telling you folks, it is frustrating. We got a new day here. And I am so afraid we are going to blow it because of egos and silos and cliques, because we can't get along with each other for the sake of this great city.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend LaRue. You know, this is how it happens in the black church. You know, not only do we have fun, but we pray and we believe and we speak truth to power. And many of us are unapologetically unafraid. And one of those persons is our next speaker. You know, if you look at Tracy Syphax's name and you look at the first two letters, or the first letter of the first and the last name, it's TS. And I told him that TS does not stand for Tracy Syphax, it stands for True Story, the Trenton story. Here's a brother who, won't get personal, here's a brother who came about the streets. Here's a brother who thought about what the world owed him and not what he owed the world. Here's a brother who, once he came back home, made a conscious decision that he was not only going to do more, but be more for the city of Trenton, the city he loves and grew up in. Would y'all please welcome, not Tracy Syphax, but the true story, the Trenton story, Tracy Syphax. And TS, tell us what you saw in 2022 and moving towards 2023 that you think we need to be aware of.
Wow. First, JB, thank you for that introduction. As Doug said, JB has a name for everyone. So I'll definitely take that. Giving honor to God, of course, and getting honor to, he's not my pastor. He's recruiting, though. He's trying to recruit everybody over here. He's not my pastor, but he's definitely my leader here at Salvation and Social Justice, where he is truly has been putting his footprint here in the city of Trenton. So I am truly honored to be one of his soldiers as the program coordinator for the Trenton Restorative Street Team here to reduce violence here in the city of Trenton. So it's a great honor to work for this man of God, for his wife, Rosalie, who is truly a leader in herself. So it's been a great honor. So real quick, JB, 2022 has been both challenging, of course, but I'm hopeful. I am truly hopeful with this council that we have coming in. I am truly hopeful. The way people voted, we voted out foolishness. We voted out unprofessionalism. We voted out folks that were in office that wasn't representing us in the best light. And we have to bring some professionalism back to that office. And I am truly hopeful that coming into 2023, JB, that's what that will look like. The challenges I see is the apathy. The apathy apathy in this city is at an all-time high, and it's raw. I knocked on the 80-year-old lady's door over on New Orleans Avenue, who told me she was not even voting in the 2022 election. This is a woman who has been through the Civil Rights Movement, the Voting Rights Act, voted for the first black president. She said she was fed up with this city council. And when I heard that, that just turned my stomach, because this is what we have come down to. But once again, I am hopeful. I wake up every single morning with the hope of a brand new day. Every day. Every day. And I think that's what we have here in the city of Trenton. Doug talked about the people we have here. We have some great leaders here, for sure. Janine, Doug, people I see in the audience that I know very well, some very great leaders here in the city. And we all have to work together. We all have not been working together.
That's right.
Doug can tell you that.
Right, that's right.
Right, Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Ran John Harmon twice against him. Twice. But one thing Doug did, and one thing I've always respected about Doug, is that after John Harmon ran, he called me and we worked together. Right. We started the MOED program together. He appointed me co-chair of the MOED program, where we help inform the incarcerated people. MOED is the Mayor's Office of Employment and Training. It was set up to help form the incarcerated people like myself get another shot at life, because we need another shot at life. And I can tell you right now, and I'm going to just take 1 minute, JP, just to say this, because I think it's very important. When we talk about the state with the DOC, this Monday we'll be graduating 32 inmates from our entrepreneurship program at DOC. So to say that the commissioner of DOC, we have partners at the DOC that's willing to help Trenton, help folks here in the state of New Jersey with a second chance. I heard someone say the AG's office. Yes, sir. We just met with the AG office here at Salvation and Social Justice a couple of days ago. The AG office is very serious about working here in Trenton and helping Trenton move forward. So we have partners. We have partners that can help us move this city forward. We have to start working together. And I'll end with this right here. I've been an independent since 2001. I've been an independent since 2001 because I signed both sides of my check. So everything that I can say, what are you going to do to me? That's the way I've always looked at it. But I think we have to have bold leadership here in the city of Trenton. I think we have to have unafraid leadership here in the city of Trenton that is capable of telling your friends when they're wrong, but also lifting them up when they're right. They say freedom is gradually lost from an uninformed, uninvolved people. We have to get involved again. So I'm honored to work with JB, of course, always, and to work with my partners here, all you in the room, and help us make Trenton the city we all know it can be. Thank you, JB.
Able, stable, bold, and creative leaders. Let's give them a big hand. As these leaders are leaving the table, I'm going to ask Reverend Boyer, Reverend Harris, Reverend Armstrong, Annette Latree, Cordelia, Dr. Campbell, Tennille McCoy, Adrian Kane, Jelani Garrett, Freedom Green, Stacey Heading, and Jane Bowie, if y'all would please come up front. Don't wait for your ship to come in. Sail out to meet it. use this phrase to start this conversation. The victim who is able to articulate the situation as a victim has ceased to be the victim. He or she has become a threat. Understand that in the year of our Lord, 2022, almost 2023, we have become a threat. Our skin color has become a threat, and the reason our skin color has become a threat, for those of you who don't know this, is that this is some very expensive skin. Very expensive skin. And it goes back to Olduvai Gorge almost 6 million years ago when we were African kings and queens. Something has happened in the interim. You see me wear this hat, and I wear it all the time, 1619. Right. That's just an acknowledgement of the fact that I'm an African, and my folks showed up in the Bay of Jamestown in 1619 to become slaves in this country. Well, I am no longer a slave, and our people are no longer in slavery. And for folks who don't realize that action, positive change, and healing, and love is what social equity looks like in public. And so I say that to you because what I've asked are a number of folks to come and share their perspective on what they saw happen in 2022 and potentially what they see going forward for 2023. And I'd be remiss if I didn't start with the pastor of the church. And I'm going to ask you to take 2 or 3 minutes each one of you so that we can keep to our time scenario, because Doug took more than 6 minutes. And y'all need to understand something. That's my boy. Right. So he and I are going to have this battle, and we're going to continue to have this battle. It used to be on the basketball court, and I used to kill him, or it used to be on the baseball field, where he used to kill me. But even if we disagree, we're still boys. And everybody up here is either a sister or a brother. And I think it's important that we don't play gatekeeper in this community, that we open up the doors for everybody who wants to say something, to have that ability to say what's on their mind. And so, Pastor, this is your church. You got royal purple on the floor. You got a list of kings and queens and honorary black folks here in the audience with them. What did you see this year that made you go, What did you see this year that made you think that there is either a challenge or a choice or an opportunity? And then what does that mean from your perspective as it relates to what we do for 2023? Pastor Boyd.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you for your leadership. And thank you for being a friend long before I got to Trenton. And so many of you we had relationships with before getting here. I'd like to take this, I think, a little bit from the perspective of even being appointed the pastor here. I have the great privilege and naive standpoint of being an outsider who's come into this city. I was sent to pastor a church that we were told was a dust heap, that the best days were behind it. But as we got here and knowing the challenges, we saw nothing but a glorious history, an enormous, outstanding possibility. And as we got to know the people, that only increased a millionfold. There was so much beautiful, awesome, intelligent, powerful black power that it meant to us that nothing was impossible. And we do the purple because that's the church's colors, because that's King Jesus, and with Jesus, nothing is impossible. It's the same view that I saw in 2022. You will see Trenton is a mess. You will see Trenton is this and Trenton is that. I am so old. I don't know that I have ever been in a place. I grew up in Plainfield. My family's out of Newark. I pastored in South Jersey near Camden. Rosalie and I did our supervised ministry in Patterson. I don't know that there is a city in this state. I don't know that there's too many other places in the country outside of maybe Atlanta and Washington, D.C., where there is so much wonderful, powerful black chocolate that can make things happen. The most intelligent folks, the great business leaders, political power. And so I come to this space with nothing but hope. I entered a space not jaded. When I got here, it was a dysfunctional city council. Now y'all done did what you had to do, and it looks like that ain't the case no more. When I got here, it was a basketball court on the floor, and now it's beautiful. When I got here, it just seems like these discussions may have been going on for a while to no avail, but right now it feels like something's happening. And so we offer ourselves. The last piece, let me just say this. I appreciate Mayor Palmer's assessment about what is owed to Trenton from the state. And anybody that knows Rosalie and I, Salvation and Social Justice, before we got here, we praise God because we believe that we were sent here to bring some of what God has blessed us to be able to do, which is beating up the state till they do right. We got a history of making the state do things they don't want to do. But they're folks, so certainly between us, and the Assemblyman can attest to this, we've done a lot of work in the legislature. And so I'll say this, between us here, between the powerful people in this room, between one of the most powerful people in the state of New Jersey, Janine LaRue, we can get everything this city deserves. Between powerful legislators like Senator Turner, we can do this, y'all. Between Berlina, we can do this. If we just get together, we can make Trenton everything that God wants it to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I met our next speaker. I've known him over the years, but I met him several years ago, and I said, Bro Harris, can I come meet you at the church? And so I came into the church, and he sat down, and he said, before we even start this conversation, I need to tell you this. We need to be ashamed of ourselves in this city. Because if you look around us, you might see blight. But we have as much talent in this city and in this county as any county and any municipality in this state. And if you look around you, you'll see elected officials, heads of organizations, business leaders, retired executives. We need to be ashamed of ourselves. And I don't say this to negate anybody. I say this for us to be able to then take a look at how we go about changing not how the world looks at us, but how we look at the world. Right. And so with that, Bro Harris, it is so good to see you this morning. Please share with us your perspective on what you saw in 2022 and maybe any thoughts on 2023. And I know Reverend Boyer took a few extra seconds. And I know I'm treading on strange ground, strange fruit here by saying that we keep our comments to 2 or 3 minutes. Because one of the things you don't do is try to tell a black preacher how long he's got to speak. I can tell Doug, but I can't tell Pastor Harris. Pastor Harris, welcome to the conversation.
Let me state thank you, and let me state to all of you that I was doing well until he spoke. I've been nervous ever since. I thank God for him being in this city. I need to tell you all something that most of you do not know about me. I was born in this city. I was born in shame, shipped away at the age of 5 months. Lived in Mississippi until I was 14 months. Shipped away from Mississippi to Arkansas to live with my grandparents, my father's parents. And then brought back here 35 years ago to pastor one of the major leading churches in the city. My heart hurt. I cried because I remembered when I used to visit in the summertime who you were. And I still cry because of who you've become. And you seem to be satisfied. Oh, you have your meetings, but you don't do much about it. You talk about it, and you say what we're going to do, but you're too busy being divided. Everybody has his and her agenda. You'll never be who you want to be until you learn to work together as one. Trenton is an awesome place and can be even better. But if you look back all the time, you get caught with the future running over you. I want this city to stop living in the past of what was. I want this city to become who we are and who we should be. This is not a black city. It's not a white city. It's not Jewish. It's not Latino. You know what your biggest problem is? You're not going to like this next statement. It's in your churches. Because your leaders won't work together. The people at one church think they're better than the people at another church. And then you sit around and say, we love God. How can you love God when you don't even love each other? You don't love yourselves. All you know how to do is point fingers at everybody else. They're the problem. But I got an answer for you. They are not the problem. We, the people, can make a difference in our city starting now. Stop blaming the politicians. The people got to come together. You got white churches and black churches and Latino churches, and none of them fellowship together. You even got some black churches don't fellowship with other black churches. But you love God. You can't love God and hate each other. You cannot.
Teach, Pastor.
I've come here to beg you. To beg you. And I don't mind begging and crying. Let's become one. And make this city for everybody.
That's right.
Your young people have nothing to look at because they see how we act at home and how we act in public, and those are two separate acts. Say one thing, do another. The Lord let me live to next month, 14th. I'm 70 years old. I could have retired already. You know why I haven't? Because I've given my life to you. And I'm going to give it until I die. But please, don't let me die in vain.
That's right. Every once in a while, I'll get a phone call from my sister who tells me I'm no longer a city councilwoman, but I'm out here doing the Lord's work every day.
That's right.
And I was very close to her husband before he decided to join the Angels and the Ancestors, or called home. But she's still here, still doing it. And I can't say enough about my good friend, Iago and Nefertiti. Annette, tell us what you saw in 2022 and any thoughts on how we move forward in 2023 with positive action.
I'm grateful to be here. And I'd like to thank the Pastor and First Lady for this place and space. Thank you. What I saw was the need for change. What I saw was hostile environments. What I saw was an unbalance that didn't work for anybody anywhere. And what I saw was the need for a different view. And in that, I'd like to share with you that I only give my experience strength and hope. And here's what I know for sure. I know this absolutely for sure. My slogan, Doug Palmer, when I ran was promises made, promises kept. And to that end, congratulations to anybody who has been reelected. and are on the path to being elected. Hang in there. Elected office is not easy. But pull your feet back. What doesn't apply, let it fly, because I'm getting ready to step on some toes. Watch the footwork. Watch the footwork. When you can't see the footwork, there's no work happening.
That's right. That's right.
When you can't see the footwork, there's no work happening. I want you to understand the game of leverage. If I don't leave you with anything else today, Trenton, and those of you beyond, leverage is the name of the game. Learn to leverage your contracts, your jobs, your resources, your opportunity, and your hope. Leverage it and stand in unity. Don't just talk about it.
Right.
Be about it. Watch the football work. There are a lot of promises made. There are none kept.
Right.
And I'm telling you, you know where it's at. You can take your feet out now. You're safe.
Following in the same theme, I'd like to add, well, Cordelia couldn't be here today. Cordelia had an accident and broke her ankle. So let's pray for her. But in addition, Dr. Campbell is here. And over the last couple of weeks, I've got a chance to get to know her and know where her heart is and what she wants to do. This is a family jewel here in our midst. And so, Dr. Campbell, what did you see in 2022, and what would you like us to take a look at in 2023? Would you take a couple of minutes and share?
Certainly. Many of you know me, and you know that I'm a lifelong citizen of Trenton. I love Trenton. I could live anywhere, but I have chosen to stay here. This morning, I'd like to introduce you to a new friend, a new neighbor, Leah Williams. And Leah Williams took a chance on Trenton. She moved out of Brooklyn, bought a home, is renovating the home. It's beautiful. And she commutes to Brooklyn. But she has started to become involved in Trenton. One of the things, having worked on the recent campaign, I had a chance to talk to a lot of people about, well, what's important to you? And I could sum it up by saying it's the quality of our lives in Trenton. We want that to be better. So when we think about the quality of our lives, we think about safety. We want to be able to walk. I know I like to walk early in the morning. Sometimes it's not even daylight. I can't do that anymore. My family is like, are you crazy? You can't be out there walking around. But at the same time, I love to walk early in the morning. Education. We want the best education. We have people who are sitting talking about segregation and how we need to put kids on the bus and send them here and there. We want equitable education in our own community with the best people teaching our students, keeping them up with the direction that the world is taking. We want good health care. And I was happy to hear about a birthing center because African American women and women of color lose more babies and have more difficulty with having children at the birthing stage than any other group. And I'm happy to hear that we're taking that on and that we are making a pledge to have high quality health care in that regard and also in addition to other regards. We want affordable, decent housing without having to work 3 jobs to pay the rent. And people are very vocal about this, affordable housing. And then also, listen to this, we want a supermarket. We want fresh produce, vegetables. We want high quality food that doesn't come from somebody else's neighborhood when they haven't bought it.
Right. That's right.
And so living in Trenton, And thinking about our park, beautiful park, it's well kept. We have various kinds of activities that are being put in place, skateboard parks and those kinds of things. Our children having a good quality place to play is real important. I've taught child development, and I know that play is important to children's development. So we need good play areas, and we need good quality things for us to do. I grew up in the projects right up the street, and somebody mentioned Eric Tunstall, and Eric Tunstall and I lived right next door to each other. And if anything was going on, Miss Buttercup, his mother, was looking after me and my sister, and Miss Rebecca, my mother, was looking after him and his sister. And there wasn't a real fear that something was going to happen to us because the community was looking after us all the time. So when we think about how our community works and how we reconnect and how we begin to care about each other and how we will say something if something is wrong, right. These are very, very important things.
Thank you.
So I sum it up by saying that it is the quality of life for a citizen like me that cares about Trenton, that is rooted here and intends to stay, so that we make things better for everybody.
Thank you, Dr. You know, this young lady and Janine, every time we do an event, one of the first things they ask me is, how you doing? And then the second thing they ask me is, what's the subject matter? And the third thing they ask me is, how many women on the panel? And I think it's important that if we know that women hold up half the planet, that we also acknowledge and respect them when we sit and do planning, that we don't forget who holds up half the planet, and maybe even a deeper thought, who your mother is, who your grandmother is, who your sister is, who's that you love. And so I love this lady, and I want to acknowledge her. Please welcome to the conversation. She is not from Trenton, but works in Trenton. She's in Hamilton, and she tells me all the time, Trenton is not the only thing that's happening in Mercer County. There are other municipalities, and so we wanted to make sure that she got a chance to talk about what she saw in 2022 and 2023, and it may not necessarily go straight towards Trenton. It may come down 130 or come down 29 or 33, but it's all coming towards Trenton.
So it will always tap Trenton. So one of the things, my father has always taught me is to be a good neighbor. And so I remember working on Eric Jackson's campaign, and I would speak and I would say, even though I live in Hamilton Township, what happens in Trenton affects Hamilton. So good morning, happy holidays. Thank you to the Area Black Caucus. And, for me, I think one of the major issues that we see is that there are not enough seats at the table for Black women. Right. So I am the co-founder of New Jersey Black Women's Collective. One of the other co-founders, Teron Tice, is in the back. Teron, wave your hand. And so we are the first advocate group in New Jersey that is focused on the growth and the influence of Black women. So we're focused on the economic, political, and making sure that we have social strength in New Jersey. One of the things that's really important is not only to make sure that Black women are in government seats, but also in private sector, in nonprofit board seats. And when we talk about the closing of St. Francis Hospital, how many Black women do we now have on Capitol Health Hospital's board? Zero. Okay? So how many Black women, and Nina and I sit on the foundation board, but how many Black women do we have sitting on Robert Wood Johnson's trustees board? So these are the types of things that we need to apply pressure So we're going to have those conversations, and I want to see in 2023 a black woman, and not just more than just, I don't need one black woman, I need more than, I need two, I need three. And we have the resumes. We have the knowledge and the experience. So don't tell me you can't find a black woman to sit on these boards, because we are out there. So we've been meeting collectively, and we want to make sure that we have a seat at the table. So thank you, JB. Thank you, Sam. Thank you to Ms. LaRue. And I have to actually leave because the First and the Finest, we are giving out toys to some of our students in Trenton. So thank you so much for your time.
All right. 6 months ago, John Raines said, hey man, I need you to go up to the Housing Authority because I need you to meet this young brother who is a visionary. This young brother has an idea for developing homes and housing and redeveloping the whole mindset relative to the projects in Trenton. I went and spent an hour. I thought I was going to be there about 15 minutes. I said, let me go do what John asked me to do, go spend a few minutes talking to this brother. I was there for an hour and a half because the enthusiasm, the passion, the thoughtfulness, and the purposefulness he had relative to what he saw as a vision for the city was unbelievable. And so, Jelani, we know what you did in 2022. I'm going to ask you to tell us what you see in 2023, because what you're about to do here could be a game changer in the city.
Thank you. I will begin in the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. I'd like to also thank Pastor Boyer for hosting, and his lovely wife, the First Lady. And thank you, JB, for, can I call you JB?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for inviting me into this conversation. I think that when I was sitting in the audience listening to Mayor Palmer, I think he hit the nail directly on the head in terms of the challenges for the city of Trenton, and that those are the challenges that we face. 2 minutes here. We are looking to. First, I would like to say, as a black family, I think we all know that you can bring up any indicator, and we're disproportionately affected in any indicator, whether you talk about health, whether you talk about education, whether you talk about housing, whether you talk about wealth, whether you talk about income, any indicator in this country that you bring up, our people are disproportionately negatively affected by the social ills of this society. So at the Trenton Housing Authority, we actually serve those who are most ill affected. So we serve those who are the hardest to serve. And I have I think you call it a mantra that we've introduced. We call it Oasis. Right. We're trying to create an oasis. We're trying to create a fertile spot, a green spot in the area that's barren. And with my staff, in order to have Oasis, we say we have to provide Oasis, and that's organized, accurate, systematic, inspired service. So in 2023, we're looking to continue on our efforts. We have a very ambitious program actually in the North Trenton neighborhood, the North Trenton Choice Neighborhoods Initiative, and it conceives and conceptualizes the revitalization of the Downey Homes site into single-family housing, townhomes, and really trying to give the people opportunity to build wealth and to really create a community. So we're looking to utilize the Housing Authority as an apparatus, because I see the Housing Authority as just another apparatus toward the goals that we need to achieve to build community, to make community better. So in 2023, we're looking to continue on that path and use the Housing Authority to be a catalyst for revitalization and a catalyst for change in the neighborhoods where the properties exist. And that includes self-sufficiency. We want to increase the self-sufficiency of our families and just overall increase the quality of life. And we're open for business as well in terms of collaborating. I'm not from Trenton, but I always like to say it's like the Willie Lynch syndrome. I'm just from a different plantation, but it's, a similar plantation. So, like I said, I just think that we're open for business, we're open to collaborate, and we want to talk to the area leaders. We want to bring you in, and we want to bring you in to be able to provide services for the families that we serve. I will suggest that what Mayor Palmer said, I think that an action item, and I don't know if this is already in the works, but it sounds like something to produce a piece of legislation or an agenda related to that legislation. I might be, behind the times, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. That would be a great coalescing, a great issue to coalesce around, because when we start talking about home ownership, when we looked at the tax rate and you start talking about doing affordable home ownership, it's ridiculous. People not going to buy houses with a tax rate that's 5.3%, so thank you.
No problem. Thank you. The most misunderstood black man in this town.
John Bell.
No. It's Dan Freedom Green. This brother unapologetically loves this city. He will challenge you. Don't care if you like it. But if you're willing to have a conversation with him, you will find out that not only is he unapologetically black and loves the city, but this is a brilliant black man. That's right. He and I talk intermittently, but every once in a while he'll give me a call and say, JB, or I say Freedom. And he'll tell you, freedom ain't always free. Right. So it's important for us to be able to know, and this is why I say that about a gatekeeper, because this is the type of brother that not only should we be lifting up Jossie, and Crystal and Yaz, and Jenna, and who else was here? Yes, Jennifer. What did you see in 2022, and what can you procrastinate? What can you tell us about 2023 that might be of interest to those in the audience?
So, good morning. Salute to JB. Thank you for that comment. Salute to Pastor Boyer. People wonder why he received so much affection. He's a great shepherd. And if there's 99 sheep secured, Pastor Boyer will secure those 99 to go after the one that's lost. So we absolutely love and adore you, brothers. JB opened up with a quote from James Baldwin. But Baldwin also said, history isn't simply the recorded events of men, women, and children. It is the ancestral greatness, and we bring that into every room we enter. So we're not just carrying history, we are history. And I'm hoping this group can be more historical and be strategic in how we move. Going into 2023, I'd like to see us, Commissioner Frisbee, JB, when we come here, let's tag on a strategic policy and work towards that. So when we come back the next month, we can follow up and say we actually worked on something, give ourselves community credibility, and begin to move this city forward. Two that I can think of is the issue with ex-offenders, expungements. Our community is crying out for that. And again, we really can't move forward until our legislators decide what they're going to do with what President Biden signed off on. But you have a large community stuck in place waiting for an opportunity to grow. The second is we need to have more allocation for our schools. People are talking about all the fighting that goes on in the high school. Right now at Trenton Central High School, there are 1,700 students in a school built for 1,400. So if you're wondering why there's so much pressure, craziness, and madness going on, that is a part of it. The second piece is I think we ought to use this group to have year-round civics workshops. If you were to go Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Trenton, and you said the I Have a Dream, everyone would know about that. But Dr. King's profound speech, Give Us the Ballot, is the one we need to be teaching in our communities, because most of the people living here don't know what the 5 areas are: housing, healthcare, economics, education, and social justice. And until people who are marginalized and oppressed understand how important voting is, civic duty, civic responsibility, nothing won't change. And you can't keep screaming at people who've arrived at 18 that they need to go vote. They have no reference point for what you're talking about. And Mayor Palmer's spot on. Then we not only talk nasty to them, but we shame them. We should never do that. You should educate and empower people to understand the history that brought them here. I think the next beast, Mayor Palmer, was a great mayor because he didn't talk about it, but Trenton Makes the World Takes was much more than a bridge mantra. It was the ability to produce produce and pork roll. I hate to say that, I don't eat it. But pottery and things of that. But what was able to be here was we had jobs. And jobs produce home ownership. And as my executive director teaches me, home ownership is our path to generational wealth. And as long as we have a mathematical imbalance of renters to owners, we're always going to struggle with people having the psychological structural mindsets to be able to care for the communities they live in. Because if you're not vested there, you don't care what happens there. This is why we work in the way that we do. And I think my fourth piece is we've got to stop giving away the title of leader. Okay, it has to be earned. It is not about tenure, name recognition, popularity. Leaders have to impact, have vision, and be able to bring people to the table in a comprehensive manner that moves people forward. I work for a great leader. My executive director is an amazing individual. People ask why I didn't run for mayor, because I'm an okay leader. He's a great leader. So I'm learning how to become great under him. So when I step forward, I can be better than what I am now. When we talk about the work that we're going to do in 2023, I don't want to put it all out the bag, but we're looking to take over Junior 1. An eyesore that's sitting there in the community and make it senior housing, right? A community development center where we rehab the pool, the library, and begin to have skilled vocation trade, a banking institution. We begin to rebuild in our community so we don't look for anybody to save us. We save ourselves. Take a reference point to the Polish community in North Trenton. They don't ask anybody for anything. They built their own credit union over there, and they have an economic infrastructure to build and move their dreams forward. So again, to all the people here who are looking to lead, take your time as a number 2, so when you step up to be a number 1, you're properly prepared. And my last point is we always talk about coming together. But part of why we don't come together is we do each other dirty. We go out of our way to beat each other. I'm not talking about me. Whatever you do to me, you must not know my mother, because my mother was the most amazing person in the world. So I'm prepared for whatever you do to me. But I'm talking about a perfect incident. One of my heroes, Dr. Campbell here. She was set up to be the president of Mercer County Community College. And people who looked like her decided she couldn't have it. So again, what kind of morale do we destroy when we don't take competent, qualified, committed, brilliant people and put them in positions to lead? We've got to support each other when we step up. And again, think about her sitting as the president of that institution. How many babies she would have touched, how many communities she would have hit, how many leaders she would have produced who love us like we love us. Stop betraying the people who are qualified, competent, and committed, who are from, of, and about Trenton to lead. Because then what you do, you go up North Jersey, you bring people here, and you tell Dr. Campbell to train the person that's going to take the seat she should have had in the first place. And my last point is one simple.
Hold on. That's 4 or 5 last points. So you preach it. You got it.
So my last one is the shortest verse in the Bible, is the most profound one. Jesus wept. And no one really asked why the master wept, right? He wept because Lazarus died. But if you know it was the master, you know at any point in time he could have resurrected him. And he did. I look at Trenton like Lazarus. Not dead, just sleeping. So when it hears the right voice and it sees the love and the one who can bring it forward, it'll be just like that. So I say like Jesus said, rise Lazarus, rise Trenton, God bless you. All right.
Once you realize you can do something, it will be very difficult to live with yourself if you don't do it.
That's right.
Brother Gene, you've been doing a lot of stuff, man. You're down at the African American Chamber. You're still on the school board. I'm getting emails and texts and pigeons from you all the time. What do you see in 2022 and maybe even for 2023 that you'd like for us to be aware of?
Thank you. In the name of God, who is most merciful. I'd like to first start with Brother John just said Brother Gene. So I'm at the age where everybody calls me Mr. now. And so my teacher told us when we were growing up that the 2 greatest titles a man could wear is father and brother. And so before you call me Mr., call me brother. So I'll start there. And then I'm optimistic about 22 because Trenton has decided that enough is enough.
That's right.
Right? But I'm pessimistic about 2023 because the people in Trenton went to sleep.
Right.
And they moved to have an elected school board with no evidence, no empirical evidence that moving from an appointed school board to an elected school board would make a difference. And the people who made a mess of your city council are now running for school board. So what are we going to do about that? So what are we going to do about that? Y'all hear what I said? So I want to say this and go on the record that my colleagues and I have been on the school board. This year will be the 7th year. And Minister Farrakhan told us that investing in independent black education is right and is noble. However, the majority of black children attend public schools. And we must use our knowledge, skills, abilities, and influence to transform the public school system. So that's why I serve. But I'm telling you right now, I ain't serving with no fools. Did y'all hear what I said? I will refuse to serve one day with the people who are now looking to sit on your school board. And so you need to do something about that. Did y'all hear what I said? You need to do something about that. And I am willing to donate my time, my energy, and my money to ensure that the right people sit on that school board. Because I've got a great granddaughter in the public school system. And there's nothing more important to me than her future. Did y'all hear what I said? So now I just got 2 more points to make, brother. Everybody has 6 minutes.
Well, what I want you to do, if you would, since you've taken that minute and 45 seconds already.
Yes, sir.
If you take that extra 30 seconds and talk about the work that you're doing at the African American Chamber.
That's exactly where I was going.
Well, like minds think alike.
So I was asked back in August by our chief, Brother John Harmon, to join the team at the African American Chamber of Commerce. It is truly the honor of my life. Because I've spent over 35 years serving the people in our community, trying to break down those barriers for them. And Brother John just said to me, well, brother, you just do what you've been doing, but you do it on a larger scale. That's right. The African American Chamber of Commerce serves over 800 businesses in the state of New Jersey. Did you hear what I said?
Say it again.
The African American Chamber of Commerce, who has been around for 15 years, and is the best kept secret, serves over 800 businesses in the state of New Jersey. And so Brother John said to me, when I met with him, we were sitting in sneakers and sandals, said to me back in August, he said, you know, we've done amazing work for 15 years. But you can't have true economic development without the people. Brother Mayor said that there's almost 28% poverty in the city of Trenton. You can't have true economic development until you do something about the people. And so our role is to connect people to resources and resources to people. And we could make a difference, but we can't make a difference working in silos. We are one family. No matter what part of the city you live in, no matter what state you come from. I'm an adopted son of Trenton, New Jersey. I thank you for bringing me here. But until we change our attitude about working together, we will make no progress.
That's right.
The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that unity is more powerful than an atomic bomb.
Right.
We can't let no one and nothing get in the way of us working together for the best of all of us. We one family. Thank you, Brother John.
Thank you, Brother John. You know, I've watched this brother grow and grow and grow. And now he's the Director of Community Engagement for IOS. Stacey Hetty is also, like some of the others, a community and family jewel. Stacey, what did you see this year, and what do you recommend that we take a look at in 2023?
Thank you so much, and I'll give an honor to God. Pastor Boyer, who will be our keynote speaker at our CMLK annual fundraiser breakfast, and so I'm just so glad to have him here. And you want the rest of Brother Gene's speech. Come see him give his speech. We're honored him this year. So when I think about the CMLK breakfast, I can't, and every time I'm speaking about it, I can't help but to thank this lady right here next to me. Annette Latique. She has given me our first seed of money to do that. Never done one before in my life. Yes, I mean, that's what this thing is about. People from the community, the Doug Palmers, the John Harmon, who invest in people with just a vision, and that's coming from grassroots. Like I was just coming from North 25, me and Cad Baxter together was coming from, and they saw something in me, and they invested in me. But what God has given me is the ability to execute and put things together. You know, going up to New York to see all Broadway plays and then figuring out a way how you bring it down to Trenton, and we end up through Hill City bringing like 4 plays down to Trenton, New Jersey. So God has put me in a unique position to execute. So I just want to thank you, Annette, so much for doing that for us. Now, Director of Community Engagement with ISLES. This was a long run. This took some time. But it finally happened because when you have the skills and it is that what you do, eventually these things will happen. So this is what we impart in our young people. Like nothing happens overnight. So I tell them, you just got to work hard. And I help them get their education, go to college. We do college tours to Atlanta. We give a bunch of scholarships out every year. And in giving out these scholarships, I tell them, like, this is just the beginning. That piece of paper is not going to put you in a position to do exactly what it is that you want to do, but you got to be able to do hard work and execute and be humble and show respect and be a great listener. And that's what I am. And I sit with my people before me, and I don't want to say my elders because they're so strong, and they're so with their youthfulness. So Janine LaRue was the first one that connected me with Ras Baraka and said, and validated me for him to come down and speak about 6 years ago. But from that time, we established a relationship and it kept moving forward. And we make these relationships move through our young people and coming together and teaching them that we're putting murals together. And these are some of the things that I'm doing with the ISLES program. Our young people are not just putting up murals with neon rainbow, but we're understanding the technique of murals and peace, because it's about this Increase the Peace project that we're doing. So everything we do, from going to soup kitchens, from putting these murals together, from Image is Power that you see, these are things that teach our young people character. And then out of that, we put together and put trips together that go along with what it is that they have been learning. So when we go to New York and then Image is Power, we're doing fine dining, we're teaching young people how to eat. You'd be surprised if they don't really know how to eat and understand where their silverware and things are at. Then guess what? They don't want to go on trips, and then they want to stay home and do some of the things normally that they would just do every day because they do not have the skills to do what it is that they want to do, and they don't believe in themselves. So that's what we do. We develop them. I bring ISLES because they give me a budget to be able to think about. Remember, I told you I'm an executor, and I understand what it is and how to get things done. And they give me a budget to get these things done so that young people can experience things that they never got a chance to experience before.
Thank you, Stacey. I'm going to ask, if y'all will stay there, I'm going to ask Jossie, Kaja, Alex, and Crystal if y'all will come up. You still here? Crystal's still here? Jossie's still here? Alex is here? Kaja? I'm going to give each one of these folks are still running, and the election is coming up on the 24th. I think it'd be remiss if I didn't give each one of them a minute to just say hello and let you know that they're still running in this election. I need to warn you, though. Y'all shaking hands and doing that. I need to warn you. You ain't got but a minute. So, 1 minute. So, Alex, you want to go first?
Thank you, JB. First, giving honor to God, to the first the leader of this edifice. I'm Alex Bethea, and I am running for City Councilman at large. And first, I want to say that I'm a Christian. And this election is probably the most important election you are ever going to vote in your life. And I'm asking you to consider me for one of the 3 at-large seats. Now, it was said, and there was a lot that was said, and I won't reiterate, but as you know, I'm a black man, African-American male, Afro-male. If you know me, I have 7 sons, 2 daughters. But in this election, so far, it looks like in Trenton, we will have 6 women and 1 white male and a white male. Folks, I'm sure you want more diversity in your town than that. Now, obviously, you want quality. You can check my record. Most of you have. Last week, this time, my time is up. Last week, this time, we were about 2 blocks over there at Rivera School. We had 100 children over there. The media wasn't there. And a program, Trenton Youth Wrestling, that my family developed for the last 5 years. There was more people than this. Students. And we believe that if we can catch them early, because I brought the first state champion, only state champion to Trenton Central High School. Thank you so much.
Good morning. First, I want to give honor to God and thank my pastor and my first lady. Here we are again, under strange circumstances. The landscape right now, you have 6 great candidates running once again on January 24th for Trenton City Council at large. There's really not much to say. There's 6 great candidates. 3 on one side have teamed up, 3 on the other side have teamed up, both teams with one vision, and that's to move Trenton forward. It's a bit unfortunate. I interpreted the law the same way as the judge and my attorney did as an HR professional. My job is to dig and to interpret the law. We did that. The judge sided in our favor. But what we're offering you is, to caveat off what Mr. Bethea was saying, was differences of perspective and diversity amongst the slate. We're offering you 3 generations to move Trenton forward. Not 1, not 2, 3 generations of different perspectives, military, education, private sector, all with one common goal, to move Trenton forward. Oh, I thought you was coming to say time. Not bad. But, all 6 of us are great. We all support each other. But I'm asking for your support as someone who rolls their right hand to defend the United States Constitution in times when it's popular and unpopular against enemies both foreign and domestic. And that's what I did, and I stand by that. So I'd ask for all of your support to support not just me, but the candidates I'm running alongside. Mr. Alex Bethea is here, Tawanda Terry Wilson as well, and thank you for allowing me to speak, Mr. Belly, and not.
Josie Evans.
Good afternoon. First, I have to give the honor to God as a Christian woman, and thank Pastor Boyer and First Lady for having us into the capital city area, Black Caucus. John Bailey, you always do a wonderful job, and keep this quick. I want to tell you that, and it's no secret, everyone knows, I wear my city on my sleeve as my heart. You have seen me in a picture like this, fighting for our rights, minus the bun and the shades today, on the forefront at that riot that transpired in 2020, saving our stores, saving all of our businesses, stopping youth from tearing them up. But they were angry, and we had to speak life into them in order to stop that from happening. Now, things happen. But for hours, we were speaking life, we were speaking truth, we were speaking peace. And that's what it's going to take, is unity courage, strength to stand on the forefront for this city. You see us both standing up here because we represent all of that. We have worked together in the community for years. Yaz as well, and unfortunately she can't be here. And that's why we decided to work together. These silos can't continue. We represent every community. Yes, we are black and brown. We may not identify as white, but we're mixed with that. So we represent every single community. That's why we're here. That's why we want to do the work. And that's why we're asking for your vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know that I'm not on the program, but thank you for extending me the opportunity to have the conversation. I was running around getting things ready for our launch as we get ready to take Trenton by storm once again. I am Crystal Feliciano, running for Trenton City Council at large alongside two dynamic women, Yasminelli Gonzalez, who could not be here today, and Jocelyn Edwards, who stands here with me. Trenton, it's time for us to wake up, to shake it up, to get it right, and we start now. It is time for us to come together collectively. Yaz and I are both educators in the Trenton Public School System. We work with our youth each and every day. We see the needs of our people. Yasminelli and I, we have been out in the community doing the work, doing the community service work. We was doing all the work, all three of us, before we even thought about throwing our hats in the ring to run. It is genuine, it is real, it is heartfelt, it is us, it is time. January the 24th, we want everybody to come on out and vote 1, 3, and 4. We're going to bring it to you once more. It's Edwards, Gonzalez, and Feliciano for Trenton City Council at large. God bless you.
So we're at a point now, we have, before Sam's remarks, we have refreshments in the fellowship hall for those who want to meet and greet our candidates and some of the others who are lingered to stay with us. But Sam, I think it'd be remiss if you didn't have the final remarks here as our commissioner.
So it's been a full morning, but it's a morning that is at the breaking of day. And so we've heard all of these incredible leaders. And my pastor and first lady, I appreciate them so much. I have to say this because when we didn't have a place to go once we came back in person, Pastor said, as long as you're willing to do the will of the people, our doors are always open to you. So Pastor Boyer, First Lady, Rosalie, we love you and thank you for that. What we need to recognize is that it's time for us to rise up. The theme that has been resounding over and over again this morning is unity and a time to rise up. And so if we want to make sure that our city moves forward, if we want to make sure that we are not left behind, then Trenton, it's time for us to rise up. In this state, we operate like an apartheid state. In the state of New Jersey, we rank in the top 10 of everything that you don't want to rank in the top 10 of. When it comes to incarcerated youth, we're in the top 5. When it comes to incarcerated black men and women, we're in the top 2. When it comes to affordable housing and inoperable housing, we're in the top 5. When it comes to economic disparities, we are in the top 3. If we want to change something, then we are going to have to unify and rise up. So Trenton, black folks in this state, in this county, it's time for us to rise up. It's time for us to stand up together. It's time for us to be shoulder to shoulder in this fight with one another. And I love the leadership that has been in this room. But if we're going to do it, it's going to take more than the leadership that's in this room. So I'm going to finish with what I said the last time. We'll be back here again next month. We've only missed 1 month in the last 5 years. I'm asking that you come back if you get elected or if you don't get elected. I'm asking that you come back and you bring somebody with you so that we can continue to do this work. We appreciate you. JP, I'm going to quickly just take us home real quick. Y'all will stand because this is the season. And this has been in my head for the last 3 days because my son has been on this. But this is a time that we celebrate, those of us who celebrate the birth of Christ. That this would be the celebration of his birth. And Trenton, we just need to fall on your knees and hear the angels' voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Let us go in peace.
So we thank you for coming. In the words of the old Negro spiritual, action, positive change, and healing. Please step up in the fellowship hall and break bread and do something to drink.